All right, all right. Today's question comes from Daevid Bluntschly, and he asks, just ordered my Ode Gen II and was wondering where to start with grind for medium roast and medium light roast. We'll get it tomorrow, making my first cup on Tuesday. Hopefully it makes a difference over my old conical burr grinder I've had for the last decade. Well, what's going on, everybody? How are you all doing? Welcome back to Coffee Q&A. It's Monday, April 1st, the first day of April and the first day of the second quarter, and we're moving into the middle of spring. So, they say April showers bring May flowers. Well, we've got a lot of showers going on here in Baltimore today. We've got showers today, tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday. They say we're not going to have sunshine until Friday. So I'm like, well, gosh, and I wanted to drive down to Bethesda today to go check out this aircraft simulator. Who knows if that's going to happen or not. So what's going on, Mom? Good morning. How are you doing? Keone, aloha to you from SLC. How is it there? Hope you're enjoying your tattoo convention this weekend. And yeah, Mom, hope the Ramadan is going well. How much longer do you have left on that? I'm curious to know. So today's question comes, like I said, from Daevid Bluntschly, and he bought the Ode Gen II. Now, I don't have the Ode Gen II here, but the basic principles that I'm going to go over in this is going to apply to pretty much any grinder, especially home grinders or similar grinders. So I've got, of course, the Baratza Virtuoso. Let me put these nickels aside. And the Baratza Virtuoso, much like the Ode, has graduations, right? They have like little markings and numbers that say, 0 to 20 or whatever they may say. And if you're dealing with a new grinder, we're going to presume that depending on the grinder, the manufacturer set it up so that there's a range of settings. And so if you're really into medium roasting or you're looking for a medium grind, it may seem very obvious, but it does sometimes need to be said, start with the medium setting, right? So there's a medium. So on this particular grinder, there's 0 to 40. So halfway through is 20. So we'll just go to the 20. Set it at the 20, right? So if we look here, I'll do a zoom in on it. Oh, until the 9th. Okay, very good, very good. So here we are. There's you can see the 20 here. There is 0 here. And then there's 40 on this side. Just start by putting in the 20 position. And then once you have it in your middle position, brew up some coffee and see how the results are. Now, this is what we talked about before in previous live streams where we talked about you want to control your parameters so that there's very few things that you really need to adjust. So what I mean by that is we want to control the amount of water to coffee that we're using. And so in this case, we're using, I think the ratio, if you want to think of the ratio, I think it's 1:16 is the ratio that I use, which is in a more simplistic thought, I think of it more as 2 grams for every fished ounce. So for a 12-ounce cup, I'm going to use 24 grams of coffee for 350 milliliters of water. And that 350 milliliters of water, if you actually calculate it out, it's not 12 ounces. It's actually like closer to 14. And there is an amount of absorption by the coffee that will hold the additional water and leave you with just the 12 ounces to fill your cup. So those are 2 major parameters. The other parameters you want to control is the temperature of the water as well as exposure time, right? So the time that the coffee is the water is in contact with the coffee is critical, and the amount and the temperature of the water kind of dictates how long it should be in contact. So the hotter the water, the less contact time in order to extract the flavors and solubles. Whereas if you're doing that in a cold brew, you want much longer extraction times, hours, on the magnitude of hours instead of minutes. So you have to compensate there. But let's say in this case, we're doing a pour over. In this particular case, we're going to do origami pour over. And so you just want to make sure that your hot water, why is my water not boiling? Oh, because I'm almost out of butane. So yeah, this canister is pretty much empty. Let me put a new one in here. Once you start using butane, you start to realize that, oh, it should be really boiling by now. All right, there we go. That sounds much better. So your temperature of the water will determine how long you need to be in contact with the coffee. So once you have all those controls, so let's say you use one of those like kettle that hold your water at a certain temperature, that's fine. Or you just take it off the boil, that should work fairly well as well. From there, once you have those major parameters under control, really the last thing you have to worry about is the resistance, right? And that's the resistance of the coffee to the water flow is what helps to regulate how long the water is in contact with that coffee, right? Especially in the case of a pour over where it's always flowing through. It is the grind, the way that the grinds come together to create resistance to the water that helps determine how long. And that's really it. And so once you get all those other 4 things done, all you have now to do is control this. A little bit left, a little bit right, maybe a lot left, a lot right. And that's why I say, so if you have all those other parameters of control, all you have to do is hold it, start here in the center, and then we'll brew. Let's see what people are saying. Oh, Rusty says, April 1st brings rain, the start of spring break, and birthday wishes. Well, thank you very much, Rusty. Thank you, thank you. That is why I had the double nickels here, because today is my 55th birthday. 55. I can't drive 55. I really can't. I'm always getting in trouble with that. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And Kiona says, yesterday was the last day of the convention. Very busy all through. Oh, awesome, awesome, awesome. I imagine that during your conventions, it must be, I mean, is it, in your case, is it only like traditional Hawaiian or Polynesian style tattoos? Or do people ask you to do other designs as well? And then, like, let's say with some of these designs, since you're using the traditional methods, can you, I mean, how many people can you actually fit in a course of a day? I'm curious. I am curious. And Rusty's asking, will your kettle work on induction? Yes, yes. So when we were in the Cafe du Spro doing this show, it was always induction. So these kettles, these are these Chinese made. This is a 7-liter kettle, Chinese, all steel. I guess they're stainless, but fairly inexpensive when you buy them from the Chinese restaurant supply store. But they work great. And I just here, because here at the house, I don't have that much power behind the bar here. Like there's one outlet here, and I don't know why it's like this, but that's pretty much the only outlet. And it's like, you know, it's a 15 amp or 20 amp home outlet. So it's like, I would have to presume that it's 15 rather than 20. So I try not to put too much on it. And so I'm running all the lighting, and I'm running stingers from like different parts of the basement to try to distribute the power. So I don't know what obviously I did not design this place. Otherwise I would have like electric everywhere. Anyway, so water's on the boil. We're gonna try this out. So start with the 20, and then as you make your brew, taste it. Do you like the way it tastes? Does it taste more bitter, more heavier, more extracted? If that's the case, maybe go coarser. If it tastes a little bit sour, tastes a little bit light, tastes a little bit runny, go a little bit finer the next time. And then just adjust according to your taste until you find that right point. And I know a lot of people want to like be told, okay, on my grinder, where should I start? You know, and the Ode, I think it's 4, 6, 8, there's different numbers. They want you to tell, but the reality is that the grinders are always different. They're not, the burrs aren't set exactly the same way for every grinder. The burrs will wear at different rates. So one person may tell you, you need to have 8, but his grinder has been grinding, you know, if he ground, let's say he ground 500 pounds through it. You haven't ground any. So his burrs settings are going to be different than yours. That's why it's more about trial and error and like trying to dial in where you are with your personal grinder. All right, so let's give it a try. We're going to get some coffee going. Give it water good. Today's coffee, I'm going to go with something a little bit special. Since it is the double nickel, we're going to go with something from my friend Miguel Meza, who owns Paradise Roasters in Hilo and Minneapolis. This is the Kona SL34 Champagne Natural. We've used this on the show before, many months ago. Here's more about my abuse of coffee, right? This is a coffee that This is a coffee that deserves to be frozen in time and held with precious intent. But I don't do that. I haven't done that. This has been sitting around until we used it in one of the shows. It was fully sealed. And since I used it in the show, it's just been sitting just like this with the seal cut. Miguel's probably going to be like watching it, or if he ever sees this, he'll be like, what the? And just get all mad. This is not any symbol of like anything. I'm more of a, I am very much in reverence to his expertise and his work. The guy is a crazy man. He's a crazy man. And you know what? There's something about me that gravitates towards crazy people, I think, in coffee. You know, I think that, you know, people like Miguel, the guy that he works with, Brian Lowe, John Piquet at Cafe de Bola, these people are crazy people, right? They're like so focused in the pursuit of quality coffee. Like, they're the best. They're the best this country has to offer. And I do enjoy it. So we're going to try this, the Champagne Natural by Kona SL34. So SL34 is, the designation means Scott's Labs. Scott's Laboratories developed this particular variety of Arabica, and they designated their 34th. You'll find different things like SL34, SL28s, and some of those SL numbers, varietals, have become very like well regarded. The 34, the 28, very well regarded. Like if you find them, you'll see those in different farmer productions, and they'll definitely tout them because they're like the best of those varietals. Now, you know, there's probably for sure there's SL31, SL32, SL33, but the SL34 was the one that people were like, oh my gosh, right? 28, 34. And you'll see different things like that. But so this is produced in Kona at the Uluvehi Coffee Farm in Kona, and it uses a champagne natural process. So they're using champagne yeasts with a natural process. So I believe, my understanding is that they're going to take the natural coffees that are fully harvested, fully ripened, so they're nice red and crimson. They're harvesting them by hand. And you know what? Miguel's kind of crazy, because so I don't know if this is the case with this particular coffee, but certainly it is the case with a number of the coffees producing, depending on the volume. He will go out to the farms. He's worked out deals with them where he will go himself to the farms with his canasta, put it over his shoulder, walk out into the fields, pick the coffees that he wants. Like there's only be certain shades of red and crimson that he's going to choose. He's going to pick those, and then he's going to drive them back to Hilo, to his roastery office. He's going to process them in the office. I've been there. I've seen it. And I was like, what are you doing here, man? And he's like, we're processing coffee. I was like, this is like psychosis here, right? It's amazing. It's crazy. It's just wild. And so what I believe they're doing, and this may be because it's a natural, they're not doing this well, maybe they are, because they're in Hilo, so there's not much outdoor space. But if not, what they're doing, they're going to take some kind of champagne yeast. And what these are yeast that wine companies will use to ferment champagne grapes. So if they're using like Chardonnay or Chenin Blanc and they're making champagne, they will use particular strains of yeast to give whatever kind of performance from those juices. So what these guys are doing, they're going to take these same yeast, they're going to massage them onto the natural cherries when they're harvested, and they're going to let them sit on the sun. They're going to let that yeast do their work in the sun, kind of like doing a little bit of fermentation with them, as well as, drying them out. And then once they're fully dried, probably takes about 21 days or so, showing them under the sun on racks, racking them out. Then they're going to, after they're fully dried, then they'll dry mill them. So basically they're going to mill off the hull and everything all the way down to the bean. CUNY says, I just do traditional work. Over the course of the weekend, I worked on about 15 people, Hawaiian Polynesians and others. Fortunately, I work fast. A hip to ankle takes me about 2 and 2. Oh, wow, really? That's it? Oh, I remember my friend Ben Mahi was like, I think it took him a couple days to do his, because I think he had you do his lineage from his family from Maui, and it was from his ankles. I don't think he got the moko, because I think because of his job, I don't think he could get that, but he got all the way up to his neck, I believe. He showed it to me a couple of times. I was like, whoa, that's intense, man, intense. Wilson, good to see you, man. Wilson, welcome to the show. Happy to have to you. And so this is what we're going to be. So he says here it's a light roasted coffee with notes of banana, coconut, and black cherry. Now, of course, as you'll notice here, October 28th, 2022. This is a pretty old coffee. And what we're going to do is we're going to take our little monkey pod. Let's have a look at the coffee itself. Ooh, look at that still. Wow, 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 wow. I poured it in here, and there's wafting of like aromas that are fruitiness. Wow, that's beautiful. There's a slight sharpness okay, so there's a beautiful fruit tone that's coming across my nostrils, but there's also a little bit of this sharp tone that I kind of describe as like balsamic vinegar. Interesting, interesting. All right, so let us try this out here. We're gonna get our scale. There's our scale with our cup. There we go. And then now let us start to get our stuff together. 24 grams is where we're going. Maybe that's a little bit too much. 25. 24. Sometimes you have to force it a little bit, right? We'll put that in there. All right, good. That's good enough. There we go. That was back to 24.6. It's a little bit slow. Okay, so the Temu scale, a little bit slow. I'm going to put this back in the bag. Now, you might be wondering, like, why are you using such old coffee? What's wrong with you? Mainly because, here's the thing. So I do believe, and have found this to be fairly true, is that when you have really high quality coffee, like, yes, this is definitely abuse of the coffee. I can't say it's not, but we're talking a coffee that's now well over a year and 4 months old, but it's really high quality coffee, so it can withstand a little bit, and it won't degrade like lower quality coffees, right? This coffee, even abused as it may be, will still be better than most of the coffees on the market today. So that's kind of what I roll with. All right, so let's get our grinder running. Let's do a little overhead shot of the dance camera. This is the dance cam now. Let's see any popcorn dancing. So you can see here now the popcorn effect that's happening. What we really would prefer is to have more coffee in here to weigh down all this popping. So this popping, the theory, there's some interesting aromas. Now here you can look at, if you can see it, you'll see in here, see that? You can see a little bit of this thing popping around. Oh, it's gone now. Sometimes you just have to move it around, and so sometimes the beans won't necessarily get caught in there, so you have to kind of like get it caught. So sometimes you have to shake it or something. If you ever watch those like crushing videos, right, where they crush the scrap metal into scrap metal and all that, they put all those crazy stuff in them. Sometimes they just kind of bounce on top of those crushers, and at some point they add more, and then it catches, and then finally pulls it through. Same thing happens with grinders, which is why we always talk about ideally you want to have more coffee to keep the weight down and press on, like with espresso grinders especially. And I realize that in most home situations, a lot of people just want to weigh out what they're using and not leave their coffee in the hopper, and that's perfectly understandable. But that is a compromise you may have to make, that you may have grind inconsistencies because there's no weight pushing the grinds down, right? Whereas if you're grinding, like in this Virtuoso is set up for a grind by weight. So I could fill this up, program the amount of coffee, which I have. Like the number one setting has 24 grams. hit the button, and it will grind 24 grams, stop, and then we're good to go. All right, so what we're going to do now is with our ubiquitous origami. I am enjoying using this origami. It has been quite pleasant. Let us get our stuff together here. Origami paper filters. I love these paper filters now. Mm-hmm. Let's put those in here. Great. Then we're going to get our coffee. Let me just pump up the heat on my water. So if we look here, you can see that it's a fairly light roasted coffee. But really, I mean, for me, it's very light roasted. Now, this particular coffee was judged by Ken Davids at Coffee Review, and they gave it 95 points. So very well-regarded coffee. Look at that, 95 points. 95 points. 95 points in the world of professionals is probably more like 95 from Coffee Review is more like 92 in the world of coffee professionals. And I may kind of make that as a joke, but I think that's something that I think that's come about over the years, where most people in the industry are very much like coffee reviews, typically about 3 points higher than what most people would score the same coffee, which is fine. It doesn't, as long as, here's the thing, as long as you know the offset, there's really no issue. All right, so let's get our hot water. It's a rolling boil, so I'm just going to pour it in here. The room temperature of the Buono kettle is going to pull that heat down just a little bit. Also, by pouring it out like this, it's going to, lower some of the heat as well. Let's zero in our scale, zero in our timer. Everything's ready to go, and let's begin. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just try to wet it just a little bit. I don't have that Chate Hato control. 51 grams. We're going to go, of course, 75 grams. Now, because this was roasted in October of 2022, we're not going to have the bloom that we're used to. But here at 75 grams, 30 seconds. So we're still at a good point. So this past weekend, we released our video from I went to a place called Sano in rural Japan, about 2 hours by train outside of Tokyo in the Tochigi prefecture. Some of my friends have a kominka style house there that they've been restoring for the last 7-8 years. And I finally got a chance to visit it. So if you get the chance to see the video, it's live now. There's actually a couple companion videos to it. There's one that precedes it that is about the train ride from Tokyo to Sano. That also goes a little bit on like how to get there and how to navigate the ATMs and refill your Suica card. I just kind of thought that'd be kind of fun to do. And then the next ones there'll be a tour of the house, and then a visit to the farmer's market. But we actually visited a place there called Kakian Coffee, and Kakian is this coffee shop in the middle of Sano, which the owner actually studied under Mamoru Taguchi of Cafe Baha in Tokyo. And I did a video about Baha a few months ago. They came out a few months ago. And really nice place, but really interesting to see how this guy in Sano, who is a disciple of Taguchi, executes stuff in his place. Because you do look at his cafe, and there's a lot of things that are reminiscent of Baha. So we're just rolling along 213, 220, 230, maybe a little bit slow. We should probably be closer to 250. I'm not really paying attention. I'm just kind of flowing. This, since I've been talking to you, I've just been keeping it full at the same level. And Moist Toenails, what's going on, my man? Good to see you. We are roasting a coffee from Hawaii, from Kona, and the Uluvehi Coffee Farms and Paradise Roasters. This is the Kona SL34 Champagne Natural from 2022. Yeah. I know. 3 minutes. We're a little bit behind the curve now because I've been talking too much. So in this case, we're seeing that we're getting a lot of resistance. So probably what we'll need to think about, like the whole thing is about how do we adjust the grind. So let's say we start at 20, which is the center position. We're making this coffee. We're running 330 at 275. So I would say the flow is definitely slower. So next time we're going to go a little bit coarser to get the coffee to flow a little bit faster, because the parameters that we're setting is we want to use 24 grams to 350 milliliters of water. We want that coffee to brew in 3 minutes, 30 seconds to 4 minutes. And we're now almost at 4 minutes and just at 300 grams. So we are definitely behind the curve. So the next time I would make this coffee on this setup, I would go for a little bit coarser. Now, if you're using multiple coffees, you might want to start keeping a journal so that you can say that, hey, I use this setting with this coffee and these parameters on this date. And then tomorrow you may try a different coffee. You'll make the same kind of notes. And then maybe you'll come back 2-3 days later. And it's harder to remember. But if you have your little journal, you can refer to that and be like, okay, so 3 days ago, I used this SL34 and it took a little bit long, so I want to go a little bit coarser. And Moise says that it's okay. My friend bought a pack of coffee from Mexico, roasted in 2020. Yeah, I think it should be fine. I mean, here's the thing: it's always about the ultimate arbiter of any of this is taste, right? And not necessarily. There were 350, 5 minutes. We're still brewing. It's long. It's a long brew. We'll see how it turns out. But definitely when we come back, maybe if I was to do this again, I would do probably 2 clicks coarser. And I think we're pretty much done now. Yeah, about 5:15. Like I'm saying, so the ultimate arbiter of all of any of this is taste. And not really my taste, right? But more your taste. Meaning, what do you like? Or do you enjoy it? Like, I could tell you that this is a 95 plus coffee, right? This is a 90 plus coffee. This is something that Ken David says is 95. This is something that probably a lot of professionals would say is 92. But either way, those are excellent numbers, and there's probably all these people out there that love it. But who cares about that if you hate it, right? And so that's part of the thing. So if you watch this video from Sano, from Kahian Coffee, I bring my friends Kimberly and Paul with me. And Kimberly, it's kind of funny because they'll describe the coffees. So I order this coffee, this blend coffee, the house blend, and she orders the Don Pachi Natural Geisha on ice. The barista makes them perfectly well. And she's drinking and she's tasting and she hates it. She can tell she hates it. And, but she describes what she doesn't like about it. The description that she gives really is the classic description of geisha. What people love about geisha is what she says she hates. Now, I can tell you all day long that this is a quality coffee, but if you don't enjoy it, then you don't enjoy it. There's nothing that I can say that okay, this is really great quality coffee, but you don't enjoy it, and you don't enjoy it. And there may be a coffee that I find to be a little bit less than enjoyable, but you enjoy it much more than I do. There's nothing wrong with that. That is truly legitimate and truly accurate for you. So if the 2021 coffee works, it works. All right, so we're going to get rid of our grinds. Speaking of grinds, I was just reading an article today talking about something. Was it succubus? This one, the tastingtable.com had this article about coffee succubus or something like that, where you would take your used grinds, mix it with sugar, add brewed coffee or vodka, and you make a syrup out of it. And I was like, maybe I'll try that. Maybe we'll try that. Michael, good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. How are you doing today? All right, so we've got our coffee. Got a little bit of sniffles. Smells light, a little bit on the brighter side. We will find out. But before that, let us prepare some other things for today. I thought that I would share with you a little bit of, oh, where is it? A little bit of cake. Huh? What do you think about that? Huh? Look at that. A little cake here. I went to the grocery store this morning and bought this little cake because I thought that we'd share a little cake today. Oh, we'll come back here a little bit. There you can see it. Okay, good. But cake and coffee, right? That's what we want to have. Cake and coffee. We're going to need a little bit of candle action here. Let me get the candles out here. So I got some candles. Oh, they're pink. They look red inside the packaging, but when I open it now, they're pink. That's perfectly fine. I'll use one candle. They put a cherry in the middle. I don't know what's up with that. So there's our candle. All right, what we need now is, back when we made the Temu order, I bought this, so I haven't used it yet. So let's open this up. This is the cheap flame gun. So I don't know if it'll work. Hopefully it works well, but this is what we use. A lot of people use, actually it does feel a little bit on the cheaper side. A lot of people use these in kitchens for burlaying things. So we're going to try it out here on this old canister. Maybe it'll work. Maybe it won't. I don't know. Is it working? Is it working? I don't know. How does it go on here? Oh, maybe like that. Oh, yeah, there we go. Okay. All right, there we go. The twist on. Oh. All right, let's see if I can light this without lighting everything else on fire. Excellent. Okay. Not bad. Nice score, Temu. All right, here's our little candle. All right, little cake. We got a little cake. We have a plate somewhere. Plate. Get my plate. And we're going to. So, like I said, it does happen to be my birthday today, April 1st. April Fool's Day is my actual birthday, 1969. So, thought I'd share a little cake with you. And here's a little bit of kind of fondant-y looking cake. A little festive looking cake with some, I don't know, little dotty stuff on it. All right, let us do some cutting. Oh, we should blow it out, right? Blow it out. Let's blow it out. All right, nice. Whoops. We'll cut a slice here. Slice there. Put that in here. Oh. All right, there we are. A little cake for today. Kind of fun. Thank you, Michael. I appreciate that. It's Children's Day. Oh, excellent. That's perfect. That's very apropos for me. All right, so we're going to have our coffee. We've got this Kona SL34 Champagne Natural from my friend Miguel at Paradise Coffee Roasters in Hilo. Look at that. It's nice and clear. A little bit on the light side. Mom says, Happy Earth Strong. Excellent. Oh, wow. Yeah, still very light, floral. There's good complexity still. This is why I'm saying, like, when you have really nice quality coffee, I don't worry so much about aging them. Granted, it's not going to be the same coffee it was in 2022, But even now, 2024, 16 months later, still very enjoyable. Good structure, good body. Lighter, of course, because the roast is light. Kind of floral. You can taste that natural, that kind of like buzzy kind of like fruit from the champagne yeast. Very nice, very nice. Thank you, Moist. I appreciate that. Gotta go. Oh, well, where are you in the world? Opposite side of the earth. So a little cake. Little coffee. All right, fantastic. Well, thank you very much for joining me here again on another coffee Q&A. Oh, Singapore. Oh, man, there's some great stuff going on in Singapore. I need to come visit. I need to come visit that place. One of my good friends, Chan Ong. I mean, not Chan Ong, but Sean Ong is a coffee guy out in Singapore. He's always like, man, when are you going to come visit? I was like, I'm coming. I'm trying to come. I'm trying to come. We're going to go eat. I was like, oh, thank you. I would like that. All right. So actually, Moist, I'm working on this video right now that was shot at this kopitiam roaster. Man, crazy stuff that I saw there. I was like, totally didn't understand what I was seeing. We'll get more into that as we get close to releasing that video. Anyway, no, he doesn't work for a roaster. He doesn't own a roaster cafe. He's a Q grader and coffee grader who works for one of the coffee academies. I'll find out. I can't remember the name offhand. I will look it up and let you know. Thank you, Michael. All right, so I guess that's it for today. I'm going to have my cake here. I'm going to have my cake and eat it too. So back again tomorrow, 10 a.m. As always. Hope you have a great one. Thanks for tuning in, and see you next time. Back to Thailand? Absolutely, Kyonik. Absolutely.